Hey everybody, it is time for Omaha. This is Fresh with the Power Rally Podcast coming to you with another episode. We are going to focus solely on 8 squads headed to Omaha for the College World Series. Also giving a major shout out and look back at Texas's back-to-back Women's College World Series championships. Dabble into a little bit of Major League Baseball here as we go on June 10th, but the majority of it will be looking at the College World Series, look back at the Supers and preview going forward. 8 teams to go, one natty and one dog pile inbound very, very soon. This is the first time you're joining us at the Power Alley Podcast. You can find us on Twitter/X at Power Alley Pod. This right here, this is about college baseball, college softball, baseball in general, and a little tidbit of Major League Baseball as we are on June 10th. Those will be our three main topics here in this episode. Let's just start off with Oklahoma City, Women's College World Series. We had Tennessee, Texas, Texas Tech, and Alabama in the Final Four, all semifinalists. All Tennessee and Alabama had to do was win one game for Texas and Texas Tech, and they would have been both playing for a national championship in the best-of-3 series. Both Texas and Texas Tech won the first game and then won the winner-take-all second game, both in the same day, get themselves punching the ticket back to the Women's College World Series final, where they met again like they did last year. And just like last year's result, Texas took care of business. This time they didn't mean 3 games. They did it in 2, and they beat the Red Raiders. Awesome. You win a national championship is quite the feat. You go back to back. It is something very, very rare and very, very special. And especially when you look at, you had to play the same team. That right there is an extra little, it being in state, not the same conference, obviously, but right now, if you're taking some college football news, Texas and Texas Tech, that's become a little spicy. And this was kind of a precursor where the Longhorns took care of the Red Raiders. But then the Red Raiders didn't bet on themselves like some football players at the university do. But, Keegan, the whole lineup, the pitching staff, it is just everyone executed. And they did what they had to do. They locked in. When you're on verge of elimination, any kind of tournament, and you find a way to win 2, not just win 1 to keep you going, but you have to win those 2 straight. And then you get into a final and you win 2 straight. You finish 4 straight wins right off the bat there, actually 5 because they keep going or more. It just shows the team's locked in and focused and has a championship mentality. So, SSD wins softball back to back. A really special year for the Longhorns and a special 2-year run there. They're the only team on the diamond for the Texas Longhorns to make some noise in the postseason. The Longhorns are one of the 8 teams heading to Omaha. A Men's College World Series final 8 teams in Omaha is set. We are on deck. Games will be taking place in Charles Schwab Ballpark out there. It's not the old Rosenblatt Stadium, but it definitely is a special location. And if you're new to this and trying to understand, going to Omaha in baseball, going to Oklahoma City in softball, making the Men's and Women's College World Series, that is the equivalent of going to the Final Four in men's and women's basketball. You have hit the pinnacle. There's logos. There are logos and years put up on your outfield wall in your stadium for getting these destinations. It is extremely rare and extremely special. These are accomplishments. There are teams all across the country. I live here in Jacksonville. I did it a lot. I started my career working at Jacksonville University, where baseball is extremely successful. They have been to the NCAA tournament at least 15 times. They've been at one point back in the 70s. One went away from going to Omaha before it became 8 teams, and they didn't have supers. They were very, very close. They've had players get drafted. Stetson's been very, very good back in the day. Florida Gulf Coast produced Chris Sale. College baseball in the Atlantic Sun, even at that low level. And we've seen this year mid-majors, from the Sun Belt and others. Omaha is the goal. The locker rooms, the stadiums, road to Omaha. Everyone's focus is to get here. And then from there, it's win and take all. You kind of just how it all, the bracket plays that and roll with it. But getting here is the accomplishment. And it is very significant. I'm looking at some tidbits in the past that I've kind of keep in the mind as we start the tournament. Per Rob Anderson, @_Rob Anderson on Twitter/X. He actually he is a SID for Creighton, which is in Omaha, and he does all the stats for the College World Series in Omaha. So he's very, very in tune. Follow him on Twitter/X. Very insightful. Drop a couple little elements here. 40 of the last 44 national champions have won their first game. So it's very, it sounds pretty basic. Oh, you win your first game and move through. You don't want to go through the losers bracket because it'll be perfect the rest of the way. But there were 4 teams in the last 44 that lost their first game and found a way to navigate the losers bracket, get back in and go win a natty. 33 of the last 35 national champions won their second game. So, you kind of think, well, obviously if you lose the first 2, you're eliminated. But the premise is you started 2-0 or you got that recovery right at the bat. 29 of the last 35 national champions have started 2-0. The reason why it's important outside of the obvious is it saves your pitching staff. It is a long tournament. You have about a week and a half. You've got to manage your pitching staff. It's not a best of three series. You could play 4 or 5 games over, a 7 or 8 day period. And that championship series is 3 straight days, 3 straight games. You've got to have your guys ready to go. You make it that far to pitch potentially in 3 games at the very end. Keeping the rotation, keeping the bullpen healthy, or at least not as stressed, is essential for being successful. You can hit as much, you can score as much as you want, but eventually you got to get some outs. And you need your pitching staff to be able to be on point. So getting 2 wins right off the bat allows your bullpen, your team to have a little confidence, give a little extra rest, and be prepared for the stretch run that is College World Series. Couple more tidbits here. We got a bunch of actually fun stats. Per at 11.7, and they go by 11.7 college baseball, but their handle is at 11.7. It's the first time in 50 years since 1976 that no team from the state of Florida or California reached Omaha. Repeat that again. The first time in 50 years since 1976, no team from Florida or California reached Omaha. That's no Florida State, no Miami, no Florida, no USC, no UCLA, no Cal State Fullerton, no Pepperdine, no San Diego State University, no Stanford, no Cal. Just put that in perspective. There are some very, very, very historic and talented baseball programs in those 2 states. High school baseball, college baseball, and not one school from either of those states is in this one. And it's only happened 5 times. Speaking of the state of California, if you're looking at all-time wins, USC has the most national championships. LSU is second with 8, and Texas is third with 6. Texas is looking to add their 7th this year. Texas has the most trips to the College World Series with 39, and the most wins in the College World Series with 88. Overall, Texas with 39 trips. Miami is second with 25. Florida State is third with 24. We just mentioned California and the state of Florida. There's 2 teams right there from the state of Florida, 25 and 24, and Miami and Florida State respectively. Fourth most trips is Arizona State. Fifth most is USC at 21. Sixth, LSU at 20. Oklahoma State also tied with 20. And then Cal State 4 times with 18 trips to make out, the top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, top 7 trips to the College World Series. That's not making the NCAA baseball tournament. That is getting to Omaha. Ironically, on the flip side, Troy and West Virginia making their first ever trip in 2026. Put it in perspective. And you mentioned that stat about California and Florida. 1, 2, 3, 4 of those schools in the top 7 are from the states of Florida and California. College World Series wins all time. Like I mentioned, Texas 88, USC 74, Arizona State 61, LSU 51, Miami 48, Arizona 43, Stanford 41, and Oklahoma State 40. On the other side, getting to Omaha is fantastic, but eventually you kind of want to cash in. Florida State has been to Omaha 24 times. They have finished 3 times as the runner-up, but they have never captured a national championship in baseball. They have draft picks. They have wins. They have ACC titles, but they cannot win when they get to Omaha. Right below them, a team that's in this tournament, a team that's still alive in Omaha, the North Carolina Tar Heels are making their 13th visit to Omaha. They have finished twice as the runner-up, and they have not won a natty. Could this be the year? Arkansas is third with 12 visits. They've had 2 times as a runner-up and no natty. Clemson has also visited 12 times, and they have never even finished as a runner-up, much less won a national championship. Then we get to some funny ones down here. Northern Colorado, 10 visits to the College World Series in Omaha. They have never won a natty and never played for a national never played in the final championship series. Texas A&M, 8 visits, 1 runner-up, no natties. The Maine Black Bears have 7 visits to Omaha, never had a runner-up opportunity, and no national championships. And Western Michigan, St. John's, Auburn, and Louisville all had 6 visits and 1 combined runner-up. Just so you know, college baseball across the time has been a lot of parity, and anyone can get there if you play hard. You can just maintain some consistency week in and week out, day in and day out. 2025, last year, it saw the SEC put in 4 teams. Most participants by a conference of 2025 or before is 4. This year we saw it pretty historic. The SEC has done it 6 times since 1997. They put 4 teams in. The ACC had done it twice. They both ironically did it in 2024. It was 4 ACC and 4 SEC. But as we enter 2026, the Southeastern Conference has set the records for the most teams from a conference to make the College World Series with 5. Looking at some sports success, and this is going to sound like SEC homer, but I'm a dog, so we're going to talk about it a little bit. Just put things in perspective. We look at athletic departments and college, athletic programs and consistency. The 2025, 2026 sports success: Texas, Ole Miss, Georgia, Alabama, Oklahoma. Those are the only five programs in the country that have a college football playoff team and a college World Series team. Texas, Georgia, Alabama, Oklahoma are the only teams in the country to have a college World Series, a college football playoff, and a women's college World Series super regional team. Texas, Georgia, Alabama, the only schools in the country to have a college World Series, a college football playoff, a women's college World Series super, a women's college softball super, and a men's NCAA basketball tournament bid. Just three. Texas, Alabama, Oklahoma are the only three teams in the country that have a college football playoff team, a men's college World Series in Omaha, and a women's college World Series team in Oklahoma City. So let's get smaller, but still more impressive. Texas and Alabama, the only two schools in the country to have a men's basketball Sweet 16, a college football playoff team, a college World Series team, and a women's college World Series team in Oklahoma City. And as painful as it is for me to say, the University of Alabama is the only D1 school to make the college World Series, the women's college World Series, the men's and women's NCAA basketball tournament, and the college football playoff. Pretty dang impressive, actually. As painful as it is to say, pretty dang impressive. If we stick on the SEC, we're also going to talk about Troy. You're like, why Troy? Look at their sports success. College World Series trip, first ever. Men's basketball, Sun Belt champs, NCAA tournament for the second straight year. Football went 8-4, played in Sun Belt conference championship game, and the women's basketball team, Sun Belt runner-up at 25-8, were one game away from win NCAA women's basketball tournament. Not too bad for a small Sun Belt squad right there, where you start to see your four premier, programs having some sustained success in a year. It really boosts the profile of that entire university. Now we're going to dive really into Omaha. Southeastern, we'll go conference by conference like we did last episode. SEC, Georgia, Ole Miss, Texas, Oklahoma, Alabama, all advancing. It sets a record. Georgia, their first trip to College World Series since 2008, where they played in the championship series and lost to Fresno State, is their seventh trip overall. Per Chris Marler at _Vern at Vern _Funquist. You know Chris Marler on Twitter /X. You know Dogs lead the nation in home runs per the NCAA website. They are 14 home runs away from tying the single season record of 188. So if Georgia's bats get hot, they could be tying or setting the new NCAA record for home runs, team home runs in a season. According to the NCAA website, only 5 teams have hit 14 or more home runs in Omaha. All those are at the old Rosenblatt Stadium, and none were at the current Charles Schwab. Those teams are 1998 LSU Tigers. They hit 17 home runs in 4 games. The 1998 USC Trojans hit 17 in 6 games. That must have been a fun tournament to go to. Be alive watching the balls fly the ballpark. The 1995 USC Trojans hit 14 in 6 games. The 2008 Fresno State Bulldogs hit 14 in 7 games. They beat Georgia in the third game of that championship series to win the national championship. And the 2009 Texas Longhorns hit 14 in 6 games. So not only is it possible, yes, but does Georgia have to make a deep run? Yes. Texas heading to their 39th College World Series. This is the 79th overall College World Series, so basically they've been to half of them. Their first since 2022. Alabama, their 6th ever trip to Omaha, and their first since 1999. So that is a pretty cool feat there. Oklahoma, first trip since 2022, and their 12th overall trip to Omaha. And ironically, we get a college football playoff rematch with Alabama, Oklahoma in game 1. Ole Miss, their first trip since 2022 when they won a natty, and their 7th overall trip. You kind of look back, Georgia won the SEC's first national championship in 1990. 1990 through 2025. The SEC has won 6 straight national championships with 5 different schools, and they've won 7 of the last 8 with 6 different schools. Between 1990 and 2025, the SEC has won 17 national championships, and that's not including Oklahoma or Texas, who had 3 combined during that stretch. 8 different schools have won those 17 different national championships between 1990 and 2025. So not only has the SEC won 6 straight with 5 different, and 7 of the last 8 with 6 different schools, they have won 17 with 8 different schools between 1990 and 2025. And considering there are 5 teams in this tournament and this final pairing here in Omaha, the chances they're guaranteed at least one team will be playing in that national championship series because 4 of the 5 teams are on the same side of the bracket. The Big Ten, UCLA and overall seed. Nebraska was also a national seed, both eliminated, didn't even make it supers. Oregon smoked in one their regional, and they got taken care of by Texas. USC had North Carolina on the ropes, and they were their first super since 2005. They almost had the Trojans, and they kind of stumbled. The Big Ten has only had 2 programs reach Omaha in the last decade. UCLA last year and Michigan in 2019. It's kind of tough when you have 3 national seeds and regional hosts and nothing to show for it. As to the peril of the Big Ten, The last team to win a national championship as a member of the Big Ten was Ohio State in 1966. UCLA, USC, Oregon, there's a lot, in Nebraska, there's a lot of pressure. But it's a Big Ten. I know they put a lot of money into basketball, a lot of money into football, obviously. Then you start investing transfer portal dollars to get these teams there because it is great to have a deeper profile. And if you look at it, three of those four teams that we talked about, UCLA, USC, and Oregon, until a couple of years ago, were all from the Pac-12. So it has expanded the Big Ten's profile, but there's still that one outstanding item they need to collect on. ACC, North Carolina, hell of a comeback. Find a way to lose game one, walk off in game three to head to their second World Series in 3 years. And of the 24 college World Series teams in the past 3 years, so 24, 25, and 26, there's only one team that's been there twice in that stretch. Obviously, no teams from last year are there this year, but North Carolina went in 2024 and 2026. They are the only program in the country to have gone twice in the past 3 seasons. This is North Carolina's 9th trip in the last 20 years. That ties Florida for the most trips in the last 2 decades per Brian Ives at Away to Worthy on Twitter/X. 9 of the last 20. Talk about a program that has found its stride and really picked up momentum. Virginia, though, is the last team to win a national championship. That was 2015 for the ACC. The Big 12 is really cool seeing Kansas win a regular season and a conference tournament, host a regional, win it, advance to Super, but Oklahoma smoked them in both games. Made a lot of strides there, the Jayhawks did, but now's the next step. The other side, West Virginia, first ever regional host, first ever time hosting Super. They take care of Cal Poly in great shape. They're heading to their first ever College World Series. You saw the crowd singing Country Roads. Be prepared, Omaha, because Mountaineers are coming down and they're going to party. The last time the Big 12 did have a national championship was Texas in 2005. You kind of look across the board, and we talked about parity last episode, how, more mid-majors are having success, and having Troy and Little Rock play. It was really, really cool. Seeing Troy capture that in the entire city. We had, I think, the population of Troy, Alabama is 18,000, and there were 13,000 and change there across both games. And obviously, people coming from the surrounding area. Students are not on campus, but you pack in almost the population of the town for 2 baseball games. It is really, really cool. And it shows the energy of some of these, smaller schools, just energy in the summer, getting your team to the ultimate goal to get into Omaha. I did mention the bracket. You have Texas and Georgia and Alabama and Oklahoma facing off in their first game on their side. They both play on Saturday. The losers will then play on Sunday. The winners will play, on Monday, and then the winners will play each other on Monday night. The other side, Troy and West Virginia playing game 1 Friday afternoon. One of those teams will have their first ever win in the College World Series. The other matchup, North Carolina, Ole Miss, 2 teams that have had success. Same kind of bracket setup. They're on one bracket, they're on one side of the bracket, or the SEC schools from the other. It's 2-loss elimination. You work yourself through it. Unlike the Supers, unlike regional play, there are games in the initial stage, the day out in between. You do get a chance to recover. So they have one bracket plays Friday, one bracket plays Saturday. That bracket plays Friday, plays Sunday. The one that plays Saturday plays Monday. They alternate. And then the 2 teams that win those sides of the bracket will meet in the championship series starting Saturday, June 20th, Sunday, June 21st, and if needed, Monday, June 22nd. And once you make the championship series, it's a fresh clean slate. It's not like the way you watch the first game is over. It's a best of 3, and they play it out. Fireworks happen in Omaha. If you're making the trip, have a blast. The coolest thing, though, if you've ever been or have seen it on Twitter, go to Rocco's. They have a Jello Shot challenge. It's $5 for a Jello Shot. The money all goes to charity. The place is usually packed. And in recent memory, the school that has the most Jello Shots purchased usually ends up winning the national championship. Number one, it's because the team and the fan base are there longer. But hey, build your good karma. Go get yourself a natty and dress it and really have fun with that. It's a special time in Omaha. It is an experience. It is something that people, you're out there just watching games. It is baseball. It is pure form. It's going to be crazy. There is going to be offense. There is going to be intensity. There will be probably rain delays because it's the middle of, the prairie and the storms in the early summer, but enjoy it. It is fun. These kids are letting it all on the line. Yes, they're getting paid, but it's not like football or it's not like basketball. The NIL deals are, they aren't as extravagant. The parity of baseball is what makes it fun. The transfer portal, NIL is helping these kids out. But the coolest thing I think we need to talk about is softball and baseball. Back in the day, these programs, these sports weren't fully funded. What I mean by fully funded is every one on the team, or at least 90% of the roster, is getting a full ride. Not partial scholarship, a full ride. Baseball was getting, maybe a third, half the team. It's always put a number out. They're probably getting 7.5, 9.5 total scholarships. That's not full rides. So what they're having to do is, all right, one superstar, you're going to get a full ride. Or if you're really smart, you get academic aid, and we'll try to find ways to make it around. But it's all piecemeal. There's a lot more guys paying their own way. Or like, hey, I got books this year. That's awesome. Same thing with softball. It's not like men's or women's basketball where everyone on the team's getting a full ride. Or with football, you have your 90 scholarship players out of your 125 guys in the roster. They've now elevated that where these guys and these girls are getting taken care of. These rosters are fully funded. Part of that's by NIL, which is a helpful part of these all the media deals. So, you have the double-edged sword of these media contracts coming out through these conferences and the sports and the NCAA. But that's where one of the benefits are, is now we're getting fully funded athletic programs and not having these partial scholarships or people having to find academic aid all the time for a full roster. So we're getting better players. We're getting guys who can afford to get up there and do it. But they're putting on one heck of a show, and it's really special. Before we wrap today's episode here on June 10th, a couple things. Braves, Dodgers, Brewers, all have 40 plus wins. Really, really cool. Braves are rolling through. Brewers, I just want I'm a Brewers fan, fastest ever to 40 wins. Not sure if that's a awesome early success or it's going to fade, but really built that organization in the past few years. It's built to sustain. Cleveland Guardians and the Chicago White Sox, quietly, they're in the American League Central, battling away. Young kids playing, guys you've never heard of. Go watch the Guardians and some White Sox. There's a lot of young players in the White Sox roster, and Gavin Williams, the starting pitcher for the Guardians, and Jose Ramirez are absolute studs. And then Cade Smith in the back end as the closer leads all of baseball in saves. Yankees, they're dealing with some injuries. Obviously, with Judge being down, but Garrett Cole's starting to come back. If they get Max Fried back, can they just tread water until Judge is back? That's a big loss, but we'll see. The Rays are kind of fading a little bit. They had a great start. The Padres are going through some rough times. The Cardinals have won 7 straight. The Cardinals are not fading. Cubs are going through some struggles. The Pirates are still there. The Cardinals are not fading. They're giving the Brewers are running for their money. And it's going to be interesting NL Central the rest down the stretch. Speaking of the Brewers, they made a trip out here to play the Athletics, but they're not playing Sacramento. The Athletics, their AAA team, is in Las Vegas, which is directly west of downtown. But in 2028, the Athletics, that we all should know by now, are going to be fully in Vegas, called the Las Vegas Athletics. Their shade is being built where the old Tropicana is, but in the time being, they're playing a couple series in 2026 and 2027 before they open their new ballpark in 2028. The ballparks, they're AAA, the Las Vegas Aviators. If you've watched the first 2 games of the Brewers series versus the Athletics on June 9th and June 8th and June 9th, that baseball flies. There was 11 home runs hit on that game on Monday night. It was 15-14. There were over 30, something hits. There was also the MLB record for most challenges in the 2026 season was made that night. I want to say it was like a 16, but the ball was taken off. It plays like a Cracker Jack box. If you are watching this game and be prepared for home runs, if you're pitching, I apologize for you. All right, just get through it. It's going to be tough, but you'll survive. But man, oh man, that will not be the same dimensions as the Athletics ballpark when they open up on the Strip. That will be have a roof. So if they open up the roof, it'll be closing, most likely to close 90% of the time. With it being much more structured around, there's going to be probably different wind dimensions. The one in Las Vegas, a AAA ballpark, it's pretty low to the ground, open air, close to the mountains. You're going to get a lot more elevation issues and exit elements with the wind off the mountains. We'll see what happens to the new ballpark. But if they're playing for this year, the rest of this year and some games for next year, if they're playing there, expect a lot of home runs, expect a lot of offense. We saw a 15-14 game, and we saw a 7-5 game in the first 2. That's a lot of offense, a lot of home runs. There were 3 home runs between the teams within the first 3 innings on Tuesday night. So fun times. Keep an eye on that one. The American League West is wide open. Astros are struggling. Rangers are struggling. The Athletics are there. Angels are terrible. And the Mariners are there. That's going to be a battle. Right now, we're seeing some great baseball. And we are in the beginning stages of the All-Star voting. In our next episode, we'll take a look at who I believe are All-Stars for the National League and American League, who should be going to Philadelphia for that, and give a little initial sneak peek at the trade deadline. Is Terrence Skubal actually going to be traded from the Tigers? He looked really good his first rehab start. Tigers, do they feel like they can make a run, or is it time to deal before the free agent next year? We'll dive into more of that in the next episode. This will want to enjoy the College World Series in Omaha. It's going to be a lot of fun as we start the tournament, and we will come back to you with some of the recaps on that one. I really hope my Georgia Bulldogs can take care of business, but hey, getting to Omaha first time since 2008 is extremely special. It's extremely cool. Now it's time we can see if Daniel Jackson and the boys can finish the job and come home with the natty. the one that escaped us in 2008. All in all, it's a fun experience. Lock it in. It's also going on the same couple of days. It starts with the World Cup. So we got tons of sports. We got World Cup, College World Series, we got MLB. We are in usually summer can be we are a baseball podcast. Summer's our time, but there is so much excitement right now in the next couple of weeks here as we go through the middle of June and get into July and celebrate America's 250th birthday. With that, thanks for joining the Power Alley Podcast. You can find us on Twitter/X at Power Alley Pod. We are connected to the Spinnable Sports Network. You can find us on all podcast platforms, but most importantly, the Spinnable Sports YouTube channel. I'm Fresh. You can find me on Twitter/X at SS_2Fresh. I'm a contributor to SpinnableSports.com and a co-host of our flagship podcast, the Irrational Confidence Podcast. You can find that on Twitter/X at IR Confidence Pod. There's obviously, like I mentioned earlier, we're doing our college football preseason top 25 countdown. You'll see our honorable mentions and our 25 to 21 episode currently on Spinnable Sports YouTube channel, in addition to our World Cup preview and our USA men's national team preview of the group stage. Hit us up, SpinnableSports.com, at Spinnable Sports, Twitter/X. And until next time, we'll chat more from the Power Rally. Bye, y'all.